Good evening and welcome back to the Collegiate Star League. This is Game 2 of McGill University versus the University of Pittsburgh. My name's Toffees. You can find me at Toffees TV over on the Twitter. You can find my co-caster, Gorgon the Wonder Cow, at the Wonder Cow there as well. Now, he's an analyst and a writer for a lot of websites, as well as a master of stats and understanding the meta. So I'm glad to have you here tonight, Gorgon. It was a intense game one that had back and forth, but ultimately resulted in Pittsburgh University showing off just why their draft was so gosh darn strong. What do you think about game two so far?
Interesting to see the Alchemist prioritized so heavily, already picked up alongside the Wyvern there. We should be looking at a series of heroes that utilize a Ganem Scepter in case that Alchemist has an amazing game. You really want to be able to maximize that farm potential by having allies that can also use his abilities, such as the shared Ganem. So be looking for things like the Earthshaker, who has been banned, but similar sorts of heroes to that.
Makes sense. All right, so Alchemist picked up early on. We'll see if he is a... Now, last time we had him on a game, we talked about if you go 6-slotted, then start handing out Ags, or if you sort of build Ags into a rotation of sorts. As you start to see the lineup coming from McGill, that Queen of Pain, who's going to have a really strong mid-game, Spirit Breaker, who's a great pace controller, going to be ganking right off of that level 6. Does it seem like it's going to be a Ags for everyone party favor Alchemist, or a hard 6 push Alchemist?
It looks like we're going to need to see at least 3 big items on Alch before he starts handing out the party favors. And the reason I say 3 is because A, he needs to make sure that he has an item that helps his team catch up to him, because he farms way faster than his team, and he needs his team to get there faster. So we need something like a Radiance, or at the very least a Drums of Endurance, something like that, in order to make sure that his team is contributing, right, alongside him. So there's one item. His second item, he's going to need to make sure that he has a fair amount of health, because the Queen of Pain bursts him down very effectively with that pure damage, and the AA counters him extremely effectively, taking away all of the regeneration of Chemical Rage. And so he needs a high health pool to get through the AA. And
that's really the danger of picking that Alchemist right out of the gate, right? Is he can be countered so aggressively. Now, last time around, University of Pittsburgh and McGill, we saw some big team fight pickups, and we said there's no Darkseer to sort of initiate these team fight starts. We do see a Darkseer in this game, presumably for the off-lane position. How is he going to fare against Queen of Pain and Spirit Breaker? So when you look at McGill's draft right now, I see a lot of heroes that are going to be coming in for the fight, but have mobility, have escape potential, and that Ancient Apparition isn't even going to be involved. He'll be standing back a good 200, 250 units, not being involved in the fight. So
250 conservative, ideally he's like 650, right? He really wants to be very far back typically.
So is Darkseer, assuming that they, never mind, Clockwork's here too, so F it, Darkseer, great pickup.
Yeah, into the Clockwork, that helps. Of course, you lose some of the value of that mobility when you have the Clockwork on the other team, but the fact that he can trap his opponents in their own cogs is really nice. And it obviously pairs massively with the Winter's Curse, right?
Right.
Oh, we're going to see
intriguing
an Alchemist Lifestealer dual combo.
That's a combo? Is that a combo? I didn't know that was a combo.
Big combo.
All right, talk to me about that combo.
What happens here is the Alchemist gets an early Ags for a Lifestealer, and then Lifestealer is able to engorge somebody in him, somebody that does AoE damage like a Pudge, inside of him. Or if the Alchemist gets a Radiance, right? Alchemist buys a Radiance and buys the Lifestealer and Ags. Lifestealer gets some other items, whatever. We're talking 22, 23 minutes. Lifestealer can now get the Radiance damage from the Alchemist inside of him, and then jump inside a Mega Creep that they can't kill and just walk around. It's a super cheese strat that very rarely works in any sort of competitive lineup. But Loda tried it like 4 times.
I remember Loda doing that. I imagine it. But that said, University of Pittsburgh is a game up, so if you're going to see some cheese...
When Loda and Alliance did this, they also played it with the Darkseer so that they could surge the Ancient around. So
the Ion Shell can be put on the Ancient too, right?
And the Ion Shells, right.
So this is pretty close to what we saw them do. So we'll see if it works. If Loda couldn't do it, it's because he was going up against 6 and 7K players in the pro level. Right. Maybe Pittsburgh's like, hey, it almost worked for Loda. Maybe it'll definitely work for us.
This is the support Pudge. We'll just watch the support Pudge come out.
It'd be hilarious.
Oh my, there's no reason not to. On the Radiant side, if a support Pudge knows what he's doing, a la Jenkins from Leviathan, he can triple pull through the Radiant jungle with the hook. So he can literally pull more effectively than basically any other support.
True.
It's kind of nuanced and it's not super effective, but if it's part of a giant cheese strat in general, it's huge, right? Not only do you have a great safe lane to farm the lifestealer, you get him that early ags or whatever. I don't like this cheese strat. I don't think that is super valuable, but if McGill doesn't know how to handle it, it will just wreck him, right? It's an all or nothing sort of thing. So part of me is really expecting that support pudge, and part of me is expecting a quote-unquote serious pick.
Right.
It could be a Visage as well, because they can jump inside of the familiar.
Now,
so there are options.
Is there any chance that they run a mid lane and take that Darkseer into support type of role, or does Darkseer really need to play that off lane?
He could be in the jungle. I don't think support. He doesn't really offer anything as a support, right? He needs levels so that he can get the odds.
There it is.
It's the pudge. Look at that.
There it is. Wow. So they literally is this exactly what the Alliance lineup was?
No. Alliance didn't go nearly this heavy into the cheese.
So pure cheese, Juggernauts picked up by McGill University, and that is going to be the lineups for this first match as we get ready to get this thing underway, boys and girls. This is the Game 2 matchup between McGill University and Pittsburgh, and it's looking like it's going to be interesting.
What I was going to say is I did not realize University of Pittsburgh had a fondue major, but clearly all 5 of these players are at least minoring in fondue, because this is the cheesiest stuff we have seen in CSL.
Oh, cheese jokes. 10 of 10 would cheese joke
would cheese again.
All right, guys, this is the Collegiate Star League Dota Night. This is Tuesday and Thursdays. You can join us at 9 p.m. for the best in Collegiate Dota, or the cheesiest in Collegiate Dota, because both come from the Student Union. Let's do some introductions here for McGill University. On the Dire side, we're going to have Goodnight, the offlaner who had a little bit of a tough start on Doom, playing the clockwork over here. We're going to have Dr. Small Plays, recently getting his PhDs. Congratulations to him. On the Juggernaut, we're going to have McGill YCJ playing that Queen of Pain. We're going to have Jagger, I don't know why I keep saying Jagger playing the Spirit Breaker, and Moon Panda on the Ancient Apparition. It is if you're German, I think.
It is if you're in college, I'll tell you what. All right. So for Pitt on the Radiant side, going up for that aggressive warding, we're going to have Brodok taking that Darkseer out for a Surge. We have Burr farming up on the Alchemist out of that mid lane there. Oven Rash is chilling out on the Winter Wyvern. We've got G stealing on the Life Stealer, and of course, as Wisp, I can touch every, I assume that's supposed to be everyone, maybe it's supposed to continue, making it sick on the Pudge.
All right, game is underway. G goes in immediately. We see Dr. Small Plays come out to harass. Engagement is there. There's 4, though. Oven Rash taking some damage. Charge going to come out. Oven Rash into some serious assault. They basically leave the rune alone. Goodnight does a little bit of zoning. Alchemist will still get it, though. They've lost 1 for the Alchemist. Are they going to lose more? Because that spin is awful strong at level 1 with those changes. There's the stun. Burr gets the gold, but ends up giving his life. They lost the Pudge as well. That's triple kill to start McGill. And honestly, when you've got a cheese strat that you're sort of depending on a good start, that's not the way you want it to go. Let me ask you this. Is the 500 gold for the Alchemist worth 1 death? Is it worth 1 death?
Maybe, depending on who it is. Because think of it this way, 1 death is about worth 500 gold, but it's also experience and a good start, and it takes gold away from you.
Right.
So, no, probably not.
Is it worth 3?
It's definitely worth it if it's free.
I said 3.
If it's free, I will stand by that. Definitely not worth 3. This is a sad day. But, you know what? It's not inseparable, right? Like, they can get past this.
Of course they can get past it. All right, Pittsburgh now starting off at a bit of a deficit. McGill's got some confidence to get this thing going. Goodnight putting some harass on G, going to be utilizing those cogs to keep G's mana pool very, very low. He's already at half, but he's got a good amount of regen with him. Up on top, Brodok uses the Surge, gets to safety, smells out the gank, gets stunned by Jagger. Now we see Moon Panda with the right click. He went ahead and took that Chilling Touch to allow Jagger to really get the right clicks in there. And they do some damage. They do enough damage to push Brodok back and make him sort of consider his positioning here, though he did take 8 tangos to start out, so he should be okay. Burr in the mid up against YCJ. Traditionally, who's going to do better? In just a hero versus hero matchup, take sort of the skill level of each player out of it. Who wins that mid?
So they should run about even in terms of CS, which means that the Alchemist comes out pretty far ahead in terms of actual gold content. But now, the counter to that is that the Queen of Pain is much more likely to get a kill pre-level 6.
Wow,
Brodok maybe not if YCJ just sits in acid and gets punched. That's probably not optimal. But look at how significant her harass on this Alchemist is.
Mm-hmm.
Once he hits 6, he'll be able to zip right back on up to full health, but until he gets that, he is vulnerable.
Absolutely, and he does not have any regen left. He's going to have to depend on Bottle Crow to sort of keep that intact. Meanwhile, up on top, Brodok was doing a great job of putting some harass on the Spirit Breaker, but Spirit Breaker is just a support in this game, so really that's not all that valuable. It just said, hey, stop charging me, man.
Yeah, just asserting a touch of control. This Pudge leveled Hook around that pit. He saved it for a while and then leveled it once they started to push up on the high ground, expecting... I think he wanted to originally pull the Clockwork onto the cliff, right? And he couldn't get it. And then he was stuck without Rot. But now he doesn't have Rot, even though it has that massive level 1 slow, 27% move slow now. Just huge. But he doesn't have any levels because he's in a tri-lane and he's not pulling. So this Punch is going to be pretty useless for another 3 or 4 minutes minimum.
Yeah. Yep. So he's doing that. Doesn't have a lot of mana, though. He's sticking around just trying to keep a little zoning and maybe show some threat, say, worry about my Hook. He is back up to 110 mana, so he has the chance to do it, I suppose. Oven Rash going to be a good job of getting some damage up, but G cannot keep his mana intact. I think Clockwork's doing a really great job of using those cogs in just the right spot. So,
to be fair, it's not like Lifestealer needs a ton of mana. He needs to have 75 on hand for Rage if he absolutely needs it. If they do have 110 on hand for the open wounds, they can maybe get a kill if the opportunity presents itself. But the knocking mana away from a Lifestealer is not going to cripple his laning phase by any means.
Right. All right, Jaeger going to come down again, do some harassment here, and it's really kind of worked out. Brodok having a bit of a hard time staying where he wants to in this lane, goes after Moon Panda. And Jaeger comes back around. He's going to get hit with that freeze. Is it going to proc? He gets out of range with the surge, but he's very low. That'll finish the job. Chilling Touch, just too strong at this stage when he's got nowhere to go. So Jaeger comes in, does get the 70% bash, and finishes with the Charge of Darkness to get that kill up there in the top lane, making it 4-0.
Yeah, things are not looking great for Pitt, but to be fair, Pitt's not supposed to do what they're going to do until 9 to 11 minutes, right? That's about when you would hope Ion Shell level 4 is ready to go with Lifestealer having farmed up probably his own Ags, to be honest, the way this game got started. But with a Lifestealer Ags at a certain point and a Radiance up on the Alchemist, you're looking at, between 9 and 12, I would say.
Yeah, if you look at Radiant, they're down, like you said, down 4, but they're not slouching in terms of their farm. If you look at the last hits, Lifestealer and Alchemist both doing very well. Burr going back and forth to the jungle very aggressively and very effectively. So really utilizing the benefit of this Radiant side. Down the bottom, G staying very relevant despite the fact that Clockwork has been trying very hard to keep him from doing that. Clockwork only 6-3. On the opposite side, Brodok 10-1. So Brodok has now put up the Ion Shell. He's got 2 points in it so that he can start to cause some trouble for this Juggernaut. Juggernaut only 20-1.
Clockwork is just rattle trapping around the jungle after Wyvern because why not? That is something special.
We're going to go to mid where Burr gets moved on. This is the gank they were looking for, and they do get a pick off on the Alchemist at 30 seconds to the rune. So Alch will have to make his move back, TP to the mid position. They should be able to secure both of those rune spawns if they want to. Meanwhile, Oven Rash back to look for a stack. Good night. As you said, rattle trapping around the jungle, saying, all I can really do is harass you, and I'm going to do that because I hate dragons.
Yeah, he's not big on the whole
Here he comes. They do put up some vision. Pudge is going to find him, gets caught inside the cogs, puts up the rot immediately. This will be a kill for the Clockwork, so he does finish off the Pudge, but G comes in, wants to put up the slow. Can he get him in time? Good night getting very low. 4 seconds left on the cogs. 2, 1. Here comes the zone. Doesn't even need it. Just pops the salve and gets away.
And now the charge is going to come out on Oven Rash, so if he's not careful, that's going to be a kill.
And the rune is secured on top, so Berg is not going to be able to get his hand on that bounty rune that he wanted so bad. Brodok is going to surge after small plays here on the top, so he's going head-to-head. He's got to back away. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Jaeger comes down. Decides not to finish that kill.
Top where Moon Panda could very well help secure a kill here.
Small plays, almost level 6. He would love to have that 6 right now. Not going to have it, though. Does get the Chilling Touch, and he says, small plays, I'll just use it on the creeps. And Moon Panda will continue to zone out. Now we see the charge coming in. He's pinging out Brodok saying, I'm going, bro. But Juggernaut not in position. So Jaeger will come in. He's not 6, so Brodok should be able to get away from this one. McGill going to go with the follow. The slow is there. Brodok, that's 17, baby. The kill is real. And they get a nice pick off on Brodok, who is out of position to make it 7-1. You know, cheese strats, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, Spirit Breaker's always a cheese strat, though. By himself, right? That's 17.
It's true.
I swear, officer, I didn't touch her. She's only 17.
Well, it's tough. You want to see, when you see picks like this, right? You want to see Pitt sort of do well just to see it come online so we can all have fun with it. But at this rate, McGill feels like they're doing exactly what they need to do to keep that cheese from ever becoming anything.
Yeah, it's kind of goopy and gross. It's like that smelly Dutch cheese that your weird uncle tries to make you eat. Yeah, it's not turning out.
I don't know.
So far.
You need to talk to your uncle, bro.
Alchemist is going for the Ags for Lifestealer purpose too, so that means he's not going to have a fast Radiance. Is the Lifestealer going to build the Radiance then? I'm not sure. No, he built a Yasha, so they're kind of abandoning the cheese strat already to some degree.
They're saying Lifestealer. Well, I think Burr's saying Lifestealer. You've had a better start. You still benefit from having that Ags and taking like a Darkseer and using the Ion Shells, etc. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna use my Acid Spray to get myself farmed up. Now, Good Night comes in, wants to go on Burr, catches him inside the cogs, taking a lot of damage. Winter Werven is gonna circle around, and Burr doesn't have the stun or the mana to use it. So Clockwork will just continue to rattle trap around the jungle. Up on top, Brodok gets hit by Jaeger again. 17. Crocs, and Brodok has to back away. It's like, stop bashing me, man.
Every time. Every single hit bash is basically what Jaeger is playing right now. But this is just such a... So that 17% miss chance on the Radiance in the strategy, it's a bigger part of what makes this strategy work than people expect. Because the Ancient itself is not that hard to kill for an entire team. But it's way harder to kill if you need to do 17% more attacks, right? That's where it really starts to get dangerous. They are going to use an Ancient to push bottom, and meanwhile, Pudge is probably going to die again.
All right, yep, let's go down there. We watch Pudge go down to Good Night. It's a Good Night rattle trapping like a boss. Meanwhile, we see that Lifestealer Granite Golem going to head towards the bottom lane. So getting comfortable inside of Golem control. Let's see. I'm going to take us to the mid where Burr's getting charged. Making a big move by Jaeger. Here comes McGill just outside of range. He almost had the range but didn't quite get it. Burr's going to turn back around and Jaeger has to back away. Had that range been right on the screen, that might have actually been a kill. Oh, Jaeger gets caught with a beautiful hook, but charges right away and leaves Whis taking damage from his own rot.
Yeah, we are still looking for the first item coming out of Alchemist at 9 minutes. That's pretty late for no items at all if you're not going for a Radiance, right? Maybe if you're saving up that 3,800. Okay, maybe. But other than that,
he's getting close. McGill is a little bit, or YCJ is a little bit low. He's got to try to back away here as Burr is going to go in and farm up these creeps, continue to try and get it. He's 500 away from LC getting that Ag Scepter. Everyone comes down. Lifestealer in a little bit of trouble. He wants to turn around. YCJ taking some damage, but he's going to blink away. He's just stalling to get some extra damage on this Ancient. And now Lifestealer will back off, having put the rune in his pocket. Burr getting very unlucky. Those bounty runes keep spawning on the opposite side that he goes to. So at least the third time that he's moved into rune control position and then gotten the good rune, you know, ironically enough, when he really wanted the bounty rune. Hook's gonna miss, and that will be a nice little play by Moonpan.
Before this moves into a fight, which it looks like it will, I do want to point out that Queen of Pain did hit her on the Alchemist. I just checked the combat log because I thought that she had hit it. But he just has so much regen that it doesn't matter at this stage unless you have the AA ult up, which is still about 3.5 minutes away.
All right, so the fight is not going to develop as McGill rotates some folks around. Pitt says, you know, we're not in fighting position. We need to finish that Ags, and it looks like Pudge is going to go ahead and stack the Ancients. He is only level 5 as he's been focusing on getting killed on the bottom lane.
Mostly, yeah. I'm glad we have the same thought there. The support Pudge is 100% a value pick for this... Well, cheese, right? It's the Doritos pick. And if they don't have... The Ags is done now for the Alchemist, so he's ready to give it to Lifesteal. They're ready to go. As soon as they have level 4 Rot, they're basically ready to do this. But it really won't be anywhere near as effective as they would want it to be until there's a Radiance. And by that point in time, it's probably too late for it to be effective.
Brodok very deep, getting charged, and here comes the ultimate. Wow. He got... That was...
That was a pretty good set of bounces.
That was a great set of bounces. No, there were no creeps, so... Brodok was just being way aggressive. I don't know why he was all the way up there.
Because there was an Ancient Granite Golem, man.
Yeah, well, he had creep tail, so it was obvious that you're going to get charged. It's a tough position to be in. But Granite Golem going to keep pushing down. YCJ playing great harass game. Pudge at 5, putting a lot of points into that Rot for obvious reasons. Once that Ag Scepter is up, Burr going to go invisible. YCJ comes in to harass. The charge is up, though, so they're going to be able to see Burr, but not do much about it. He'll come all the way through. He does put in the stun. YCJ thinking about it. He's got his ultimate available. He's stuck in the trees. He can't go anywhere. That's the downside of sometimes being that SB. But, oh, Wisp is going to drop, so Pudge gets caught out, and now YCJ is going to try to make an escape. Blink off in 7 seconds. G wants to go. The stun, long range. Pops YCJ. Blink is off in 2. Will it happen in time? It does!
That was a really nice play by Brodok. He surged the Alchemist so Alchemist could get in range of the stun, of the Unstable Concoction.
Best laid plans, man.
That wasn't the best laid plan, but it was a really nice adjustment to a pretty faulty plan.
So Burr with the brown boots and the bottle will continue to farm, I believe. Lifestealer now has an Ag Scepter, so he'll be looking for an Ancient for himself. Dr. Small Plays pushes the top, gets it low, but has to back away. And they've been stacking Ancients and not killing them, so there's plenty of selection for those big daddies.
Yeah, there's level 4 assets right now as well, so -7 armor reduction onto those Ancients should make them fairly easy to go down once they know which of those creeps they want to throw the Lifestealer in. Here we go. The Pudge Rot Lifestealer strategy is real.
It's on. There's the Rot. There's the chase. Brodok on the follow. Going to give him some Ion Shells. G searches around, finds himself what he wants, jumps inside of the Thunderhide. I like the Thunderhide grab. He's got the benefit of the slam, so here they go. In comes the charge. YCJ taking a lot of damage. He just blinks away. Jaeger, meanwhile, goes for Brodok. Brodok's got to back off. In comes the attack. Rot's doing a lot of work. Ion Shell doing some work. Jaeger's got to go. His stuns. He's not able to charge for 2 seconds. He'll die. First casualty of the angry dinosaur, but YCJ goes for Brodok. Surges up. Brodok will close. Moon Panda, meanwhile, getting burned down by the cheese. He dies.
Why did he not just see what happened and go, oh yeah, I shouldn't walk near that? He walked right into the rock.
He wanted to kill Brodok.
Man, he wanted it way too badly. Now, they can't push very quickly like this, but this tower is almost dead anyway, so this is going to be a blink away.
So he continues to harass. YCJ jumps away, and he says, this is fun. Man, I don't even... It's just funny. Look at Pudge.
I told you, the Pudge.
He's just chilling.
Wait, what level is Pudge? Does he have level 4 rot yet?
He's level 7.
Yeah, that's
what
they were waiting
for,
as expected. They waited for level 4 rot.
We'll go to the bottom where Burr was trying to farm himself into this game. Gets charged, gets caught, hit from all sides. YCJ gets the ulti up. The stun is there. Brodok wants to chase, but it's going to end up costing them too, because neither of them really has the potential to be in this fight. Now we see the rotation. Here we go. In comes Oven Rash. Wants to help out. YCJ is coming. There's the regen on Burr. And he is likely going to go down. Gets put inside of the ice pack, but it's not going to be enough. Jaeger and YCJ getting low. Oven Rash wants to continue to fight. Now we see Wisp come in. Here comes the cheese. They're going to go ahead and pop the Rot. No, I'm sorry. Rot's not inside right now. So Jaeger is going to take some damage, but his charge is up. Now he should be able to use it if he wants to get away. He's not. He's pulled backwards, and he might just die here with charge available. That's strange to me.
I think he was worried about the hook.
Maybe,
out of the charge.
Better to try.
Like, they have a lot of ways to interrupt that charge.
Yeah,
right?
but better to try.
It doesn't hurt him to try, right? It does seem like a weird choice, but whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, that said, Wisp was outside of the dinosaur. We're going to see G TP back to defend the base, is that both towers on the top lane have been taken down. So a 1 tower advantage. The gold lead is about 1,000 to McGill. XP is about 3. So McGill not as far out in front as you would expect after the start that they got. Is that going to come back to haunt them? If we look at the net worth right now, Lifestealer has the highest at 9.5. Juggernaut's at a 7, which is impressive. But then you've got that Darkseer and the Quap right in the same ballpark too.
Yeah, this is... Like, what do you do out of this if you're Pit, though? Usually when this sort of thing works in, like, pubs, or where it seemed moderately effective for a team like Alliance at the pro scene, right? It's because you're playing from ahead. And they're playing from pretty far behind at this point.
Speaking of behind, Oven Rash gets caught by Good Night, but Brodok comes around, pops his Ion Shell, wants to chase, but he's taking a lot of damage, and the charge is coming. You gotta know what's gonna happen, bro. Here comes a nice ulti from the Winter. I'm sorry, from the Ancient Apparition. Brodok will be caught and finished, not only finished, but finished by the Juggernaut, too. So that was about as worst case scenario as you could get, giving up that kill.
I don't know why they're not doing this more. Like, their entire strategy is based around this. Lifestealer's ulti is up. Do it. Do it, boy. They are doing it. Okay.
Yeah, I think they were just stacking some stuff. So it looks like they are going to grab the Rot.
Alchemist is charged.
Alchemist is charged. G is in the wings, waiting for his chance to maybe make a move here. The charge is canceled, and Jaeger again gets... I thought he got... Is he in the trees? Yep, caught on the high ground again.
Oh. He's going to go down bottom, and they're going to try to kill the Juggernaut.
They're moving on him. G taking a lot of damage, but he is able to stand around, infest the creep, get some health back. Follows the Jug, who burned the ultimate. The creep hit him from that. There's the charge, but the Rot is strong with this one. They end up finishing the Lifestealer. They finish off the Pudge and only lose the Juggernaut. So the strategy is interesting, but it does not seem to be working out as the gold lead is, look at this, Black Diamond Slope caliber as McGill continues to pace themselves ahead in this match.
Yeah, I can see why Pitt waited till they were game up to try this. And I appreciate the fact that they said, we are game up, we're going to go with our fun strategy and see how it works. It's not working that well, but they tried, right? They can say they tried.
That's all you can do. All you can do is try. Meanwhile, Burr is continuing to try and get a little bit of farm. He's got 3,000 in the pocket, so it looks like he's going for another Ags, or is he... No, he'll be going for the Radiance.
Yeah.
He's close. He's getting close. They need to pick him off.
Yeah, they haven't really been paying attention to him. This is actually an interesting point, though, right? One of the problems with the Alchemist is that he gets so far ahead that he ends up trading off a bunch of advantage when he dies in the early game. He didn't get very far ahead because he did Ags first, and now he's catching up. This could actually work out in their favor in a really weird roundabout way, because when he's most vulnerable, he wasn't ahead, but he will catch back up and surpass his opponents shortly.
I mean, he's 100, I think 150 gold away from his Radiance, so this wave, if not the next one, should let him get to the point where he can finish it up, and it looks like he'll do that right now. So they are rotating on him, but not before he's able to get the Radiance in play. The charge is coming. The TP will execute before the charge can close, though, and they'll know that instantaneously as Jaeger changes position very sharply.
If these guys were real players, and I don't mean to shit talk anybody, but if Pitt were real players, they would have done a support strength Morphling.
Oven Rash is gone on. YCJ going to try to get the kill, but he's got to back away as they close the distance. Ion Shell's up. YCJ taking some serious damage. Blinks to safety. Alchemist was not there in time to get the Radiance in, I don't think. Yeah, he's down the bottom lane. Here they go. Big move. Everyone's there. Nice ulti from the AA to secure the kill on Brodog.
Oh, no.
But Goodnight taking damage. He's in very deep, but he is going to pop out here quick soon. Everyone now exposed. Wisp drops like a rock because Pudge has not had a chance to get any farm outside of just sitting inside and rotting. And it goes 2 for none as they end up losing Brodog. And now they may lose more. Ultimate from YCJ. The charge on G. G exposed. Ultimate's going to knock him a little bit farther backward, looking for the stun. Nice play by Oven Rash, but Oven Rash will die to YCJ. No, he won't. He seems to escape. G, though, is some serious trouble. Pops that magic immunity to try and get away and will manage to somehow get out of that one. Oven Rash also somehow... Nope, he didn't escape. YCJ closes the distance. Brodog comes in, wants to get involved, but can't really do it. Doesn't have a way to stop YCJ's TP, and he will manage to get out.
Yeah. So, well, like I was saying, I don't want to shit talk anybody, but this Wyvern hasn't done anything. He doesn't even have an ult yet, right? It's been completely useless all game. Not the player's fault, but just the way the strategy works out, that support isn't really valuable in any significant way because the entire strategy is oriented around what does Lifestealer have up his butt, right? That's the name of the strategy is what sort of cheese do I have in my butt? Right. So, what they could have done is the Strength Morphling, had the Alchemist farm out an Ags for the Morphling, and then have the Morphling pull other additional people, and the whole team could just be sitting inside an Ancient with a Radiance and a Pudge Rot, and it could have been just dandy.
It could have been dandy. Either it's not really. I still don't know if it would have worked out. The Goldie though, it
definitely wouldn't have worked out, but at least put on even better of a show. Though I will say, they've been putting on a show. They haven't been winning, but they've been putting on a show.
YCJ comes in very deep. Brodog is looking for a little bit of action. Now, it is worth noting that they did have a good team fight that got them back into gold, and then they gave it all up when they were turned around on. So, Pitt's getting good engagements. They're just not closing the deal. And you got to wonder, had they had a better early game, if it would have worked out. What's not going to work out is Burr at the moment as he gets taken apart by this global. Brodog makes a nice suck. grab on everybody. Good vacuum. Jaeger now going to try to run away. His charge is up in 2 seconds, so look for him to just head to safety. And he will. He charges back through, gets a double stun, so actually a really nice play for YCJ to try to come in and finish the job. He puts some damage on Oven Rash. Can't finish it. Oven Rash is going to have to keep himself up. Meanwhile, Jaeger will go to the bottom lane to help out with the push. Small play is going to put some work in on the Roche pit, and it looks like Queen of Pain ended up going down to a nice rotation by Wisp.
Yeah, the Lifestealer managing to grab the kill. Now he's got the Thunderhide going. He loves these Thunderhides. Call him Baby Loda. I don't know what else to do.
I like the Thunderhide too, but I gotta tell you, this strategy I hate only because it's incredibly hard to figure out where the hell Lifestealer is on the map.
You just gotta click his portrait and
I know.
Pray, right?
So he's walking around.
I actually don't know. I think you can still no. Can you assimilate if you've already jumped inside of something else?
I do not know.
I don't know. I've never actually played Alchemist, or I've never played Lifestealer with new ags. So
nice play by the Clockwork. Yeah, you don't see a lot of it, so it's hard to kind of know the mechanics.
This is how it works out.
Exactly.
Why would you?
All right, so gold lead 4,000, McGill 7,500 in terms of XP lead, which is really proving to be very useful for them. Why don't you give us an item update while we have this lull in the action?
All right, well, it's basically what we've already been seeing. Lifestealer does have Sanjin Yasha finish. He does have Boots of Travel finish as well, on top of the hidden ags that isn't really shown, right? The Darkseer's gone for a Dagon 1 build. So, if you have a cheese fountain, why not make, bits of cheese that you dip into the cheese? Maybe like a 4-cheese pizza on the side. It's all good. Pudge has drums, so he finished something. Winter Wyvern has a ward. So that's good. And we do have Travs available on the Alchemist as well. So a lot of mobility around the map. It looks like they're maybe planning on doing some rat Dota if this cheese does not end up working out. Meanwhile, the other side has, an Orchid, a Force Staff and Blade Mail on the Clockwork. There's a full Glimmer Cape and Urn on the Spirit Breaker. Juggernaut is getting... He's a little over halfway to his Scotty on top of a Sanjin Yasha and a Morbid Mask with an Aegis. And Angel Apparition has had a Midas for a while. That's really going to be starting to pay off here pretty soon.
All right, so that's what everybody's got, and I am McGill looking pretty good at this point in time. Pitt trying to figure out how they get this back. I mean, one of those things like, when they picked the strat, they said this may not work out. I'm sure they're not beating themselves up over it. I mean, I guess if you're going to take a loss, this is the kind of loss you want to take, right? Because losing this game isn't demoralizing necessarily. Because you can say, we tried it. It was fun. We had a good time.
I will say that they either needed to commit to this or they needed to fall off of it very early. But after that triple kill, it did not seem like they necessarily all had the same level of commitment into what was going on. Another Ancient Thunderhide is rolling on through.
Oh, here he comes. He's coming hot. He's got the rot. And he's ready to trot as he rolls right down towards that bottom lane. Juggernaut says, I'll fight you, man. I'm not afraid of you, but look at the damage output with that Ion Shell combined. He wants to go. He puts up the spin to win, and already the Hide's going to drop low. Up Rash comes in, puts up a nice little save there. Is Alchemist inside as well? I think hard to tell.
No. He can't be. There can only be two.
There can be only two.
Unless you have a Morphling, there can only be two.
So he goes around picking up YCJ, a lot of damage. They end up getting a kill on the Quap with the buyback, but G dropping low. Big ultimate coming out of the Juggernaut, who it's just got too much damage out for him to deal with. Buyback from the Pudge. We see him try to go up and slow things down. Alchemist comes out, gets a good stun on Moon Panda, but he's going to get Force Staff forward. Nice play by the Clockwork to keep him alive.
Yeah.
Man, this is
so
brutal.
Buyback on Pudge because level 11 Pudge at 25 minutes with no significant items was scary, I guess.
Well, it's also a cheap buyback for a level 11 Pudge at 25 minutes.
Remember, I talked about this inevitability very early on, though, right? We were talking, they got off to a bad start, and I said, oh, well, now they're going to end up jumping into Ancients when they can just kill Ancients. The Ancients aren't really that scary at a certain point in the game. Like, this has to work super early for you to get a big advantage out of it. Otherwise, we've been seeing these Ancients drop after a couple of seconds.
So we'll see Alp go down here. I imagine we'll see a GG come out pretty soon. So here's the deal.
Pitt carries pretty hard if they can get farm.
That's true.
And they
That's
build
fair.
the right stuff. I don't
fair.
know that Dagon is the way to go if that is going to be your strategy, though. So, based on their builds, I'm trying to figure out. They're going to try to kill Jaeger.
They're going to move on Jaeger. Jaeger doesn't have. Yeah, he does. I'm sorry. He's got to move to get away, and that is the Glimmer Cape, and he just charges out. So nobody's got the moves to stop Jaeger. YCJ going to push the top lane. Bounty Rune grabbed by Dr. Small Plays as well as an Aya Scotty. And he'll go ahead and kill the Ancients to say, I'm really tired of you getting inside of things.
Yeah, this is... So Pitt is not really that far behind, especially, like, economically. Economically, right. I should specify. Especially considering the fact that the Alchemist, who should be always top in net worth, is 5,000 behind the Juggernaut. Or at least about 4,000. He's pretty far behind the Juggernaut, even though he's got Greevil's Greed, and he maxed it.
Mm-hmm.
That said, if they somehow manage to turn this around, hold high ground, do pretty well, stop relying too heavily on the Ancient strategy, because it's just not working, they could carry very hard. And especially with that Acid Spray, people underestimate the value of -7 armor at a choke point. It is massive, especially if you got a Lifestealer.
I would say a Lifestealer who benefits from that. Incredible. Right. So G does already, he's got his Hyperstone up and running as well as his Boots of Travel. He's finished the Sanjiasha, so he's becoming a force that can be difficult to deal with, especially in these fights, based on the magic damage of McGill. They've got to be careful with that quad because you're not going to be able to just burn down the Lifestealer anymore. So yeah, I guess you're right. They're not completely out of it. They are down by 7,500 gold. They're down by 12,000 XP. So the order is tall, but not insurmountable. Good grab. Pulls in the Juggernaut, but he starts to spin, and they're going to win as he gets a really nice kill. Now they move back around. G gets hit with the ultimate, finishes off the Darkseer. Oh my god, that's a triple. And Dr. Small Plays is about to change his name to Dr. Big Plays.
And this should be a free tower on top, so you know, a little icing on that cake. They might not want to push high ground here, but they probably could. It really depends on how comfortable they are. They might even be feeling cocky because of how wildly out of control this cheese fountain got, that they just feel like they can do whatever they want. So they're just going to rotate bottom and do it. Why the hell not?
Why not? The tower taking damage. All they've got is the Alk and the Wyvern. In comes Burr, puts up the acid. That's going to slow them down a bit. They take some damage from the Winter. And Glyph is utilized, and Dr. Small Plays will continue the right clicks, and they should back off. So the tower goes down. In comes the stun. It hits Jaeger. You're going to take some damage. Now we see Small Plays on the spin, doing his right click inside of the spin. Nice play by him to make sure that he's comfortable in taking down the melee racks, and they will get it. Are they going to go for range 2? I don't know about that. Here comes a big vacuum. No follow. In comes YCJ. Puts out some furious damage. Lifestealer drops like a Rob. Wiz comes in. Gets up the pull on Small, but it's not enough. Jaeger dropping low. Small dropping low. They picked off 3, though, for the price of a Quap. And now they will continue as Jaeger and Brodok go head-to-head. Jaeger putting in the work. Can he get Brodok? He cannot. So that's a double kill, which at this stage of the game, that's a good amount of gold for the guys from Pitt.
Oh, yeah. Pitt definitely came out ahead economically on that. Unfortunately, almost all that gold went on the Alchemist, who can flash farm anyway.
Right.
And in addition, they lost to Rax. So in terms of overall game pacing, that was not a good trade for them. But economically, might help get them back in the game a bit.
Alright, so Alk is starting to get on. He's got a Yasha, he's got his Radiance, he's got his Boots of Travel. They're going to start working that rat just as fast as they possibly can. But Juggernaut is the elephant in the corner, right? He's just very strong at this moment. He's got a Basher up now, looking very good at level 20. When you compare the levels on the side of Pittsburgh, that's a level 20 Juggernaut dealing with a level 12 Lifestealer, a level 12 Pudge, a level 13 Brodok or a Darkseer, a level 7 Winter Wyvern. Is that true? Well, that's amazing.
Yeah,
level
well, remember,
17
he didn't
Alchemist.
even have level 6 until well after everybody else on his team had enough to make the cheese flow. So
comfortable, he will just go in alone, sees a 5-man rotation to stop him, and just spins away. So that, I think, is going to be the hardest thing for them to overcome in the next period of time. And that means that what Pittsburgh has to do is sort of let Dr. Small Plays hit his 25 cap and then just slow the game down until they can close that distance. Yeah, and I don't know if that's going to happen as G is caught out. The right clicks are real from Dr. Small Plays. G goes ahead and infests a creep and says, I'm just going to go ahead and hide here, please.
A Wyvernolt can stop that Juggernaut, right? Because you chain the Wyvernolt with the Pudge Dismember, with the Alchemist stun. They can just permanently hold him still. Eventually they'll kill him, but it needs to be perfect, and he needs to be alone. So he's kind of playing into that right now. Unfortunately, there's just not. They have to right now either choose to flash farm the Alchemist so that he can get the Octarine Core Manta style combo up so that he can rat, or they have to choose to try and kill the Juggernaut because they can't do both.
All right, so and those are their options. The gold lead, by the way, is 11,000. XP is 17, and a lot of that is on the Juggernaut, who has been farming very aggressively and very effectively. G is going to get hit by, oh man, that's tough. Hit all around. Pudge was trying to hook G, but misses him, and G will die because of it. Juggernaut, or a big charge by Jaeger. Good vacuum to slow it down, but the ulti is there. It catches Brodok, and it catches Winter. Spins on Burr. They've already lost 4, and I think they're going to lose more.
There it is.
The GG comes out from G. And it's going to be a GGG to wrap this one up as McGill finishes 12,000 gold to the advantage, and Pittsburgh gives them a game. Though it says a lot that Pittsburgh feels so confident in their ability to beat McGill straight up that they're willing to burn a game on a cheese strat. So we are going to game 3, boys and girls, here in the Collegiate Star League on Thursday Night Dota. My name's Toffs. You can find me at Toffees TV, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Gorgon the Wonder Cow. You can find him at the Wonder Cow over on Twitter. Make sure you follow C Star League there as well. And don't forget to sign up and take your shot at winning 5 Razer headsets for the brand new banner contest on www.cstarleague.com. Gorgon, one more game. You think it's going to be a good one?
I hope that everybody brings their A game and, leaves the all cheese aside. It's funny, but I'd rather see a close match than a funny match, personally.
And I think that we will. So stick around, boys and girls. Game 3, the last one of the night in this collegiate Dota throwdown between McGill University and the University of Pittsburgh. Stick around. We'll talk in Twitch chat, and I will play some music for you. And as always, until the next game, Toffee's out.
As I cross into the deep, you are with me. I open my eyes, floods of blue skies flow like rivers, a 10,000-year-old love songs. And it all belongs to consciousness. The sun rays fade down the waves of blue. I found you just like a treasure lost at sea. And you take my hand as I cross into the deep. You are with me. I open my eyes, floods of blue skies flow like rivers, a 10,000-year-old love songs. It all belongs to you. Open my eyes, floods of blue skies flow like rivers, a 10,000-year-old love song. I open my eyes, floods of blue skies flow like rivers, a 10,000-year-old love songs. It all belongs to you. Oh, I know that I love you even though you seem to string me along. But when we lock eyes and your smile shining bright, your trance turns right into wrong, and I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. Oh, I know that I love you even though you'll get me killed one day. But when stepped into the room, and I knew I was doomed to fall for you. The moment I saw you smile, now everywhere you go, my eyes follow close, and I'm just waiting for the time to be right to tell you how I've loved you for a while. Oh, my heart is going wild. You wear me down like when the sea meets earth. I fade away just like the rocks have worn. Don't you see what you do to me? You keep crashing into me. I keep turning out to be something more than what I was before. Your skin touched my skin, and I could feel the breaking of my cold stone heart was about to begin. The moment that we locked eyes, now everywhere you go, my eyes follow close, and I'm just waiting for the time to be right to tell you how I've loved you for a while. Oh, my heart is going wild. You wear me down like when the sea meets earth. I fade away just like the rocks have worn. Don't you see what you do to me? You keep crashing into me. I keep turning out to be something more than what I was before. Like when the sea meets earth, I fade away just like the rocks have worn. Don't you see what you do to me? You keep crashing into me. I keep turning out to be something more than what I was before. I think I'm starting to lose my mind because this precarious situation that we find ourselves in means that it's only a matter of time before a storm of wonder starts to fill my mind. And for the first time in a long time, you're the first one to make me feel like I want you more and more than I know. I cannot take my eyes off of you. If you're a storm, I'll dance in the rain and hold on by my fingertips. Maybe I've already lost my mind. Maybe we've come so far so fast that now there's no way we could ever go back. And now it's only a matter of time before a storm of wonder starts to fill my mind. And for the first time in a long time, you're the first one to make me feel like I want you more than I do. I cannot take my eyes off of you. If you're a storm, I'll dance in the rain. You took me and swept me away. I'm
Good evening and welcome back to the Collegiate Star League. After a bit of a delay, some technical issues, and a 1 gig update, we have returned for Game 3 of this match between University of Pittsburgh and McGill University. Currently, it stands 1-1. Pittsburgh took a strong win on the first and then gave up a terrible loss on the second, due in large part to their draft. I'm joined here by Gorgon, the Wonder Cow. You can find me at Toffees TV and him at the Wonder Cow over on Twitter. And you can find the C Star League, the hosts of some of the best college esports in the world, over at C Star League on Twitter. And we have coverage of Dota, League, Hearthstone, StarCraft, Counter-Strike. I mean, it's everything you can imagine and more coming soon, so make sure you check that out. Gorgon, crazy game, crazy after the game. What are you looking for when we start this draft?
I'm looking at my options because the patch changed all my audio options, and I've got like character sounds, and I don't know how to deal with this. So that's what I'm looking for. But more importantly, I am looking for less fondue fountain and more meat and potatoes coming out of University of Pittsburgh. They're going back to the standards they know and love, the Winter Wyvern, Wind Ranger. Wyvern didn't work out so well for them last game, but in general, they seem to know how to play the hero, and Wind Ranger just about always a pretty good pick.
I'll let you talk for a second longer as I redo all of my settings. I'm glad you mentioned that.
So while those settings are being redone, I will let everybody know that the Slardar has been banned out here by Pittsburgh, and the Gyrocopter's been banned out by McGill. McGill going for a very active vision-based gank lineup so far, with the Spirit Breaker potentially an off lane, more likely a support, and a Queen of Pain. The Queen of Pain is great at dealing with the Winter Wyvern in particular, just because she can kind of save kind of far away, not worry too much about the Winter's Curse unless she's already engaged, and she has the ability to just blow through a Cold Embrace, which takes away a lot of the defensive capability of that Winter Wyvern.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. I love production value, but, you know, sometimes stuff like this happens, and I want to make sure the camera looks great. So it is all fixed. We should be good to go. And, again, I apologize. We had to remake the lobby because for those of you who are getting the patch yourselves, be aware, for some reason it triggered a firewall response on my computer as well, so make sure you check all that before you try to boot into your first game. Undying to get picked up by McGill University. Very aggressive early to mid game that McGill's building right now. Yeah,
it's really aggressive, actually. This is the sort of lineup that we would see somebody like Monkey Business play, right? Or, excuse me, OG. They changed their name. Off-lane Undying, support Spirit Breaker, get that heavy aggression combo going. Queen of Pain, early 6, start rotating, take early towers. You want 3 towers by 14, 15 minutes if you can, and you really just drill in the advantage. And we know that McGill likes to run that heavy aggression, heavy advantage-based lineup. They even did it with their cheese strategy, although they just didn't execute that to the high standard that would be required. Even when they're joking around and just trying to have fun, they play this super aggressive sort of style.
And it is worth noting that this game does carry some weight to it. We have 3 games left, like basically another Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday combo until we take the break for the fall. We're going to leave right before Thanksgiving and sort of be off until January 17th. So this is a chance to solidify your standings before the second half of the season. Both of these teams fighting to lock up that second place. If Pittsburgh gets the win, it puts them significantly ahead of the rest of the pool in a solid second behind Pennsylvania. If McGill wins, it allows them to tie University of Pittsburgh to lock up 2 going into the breaks. This is a pretty big game for both of them and important. Now, University of Pittsburgh did go up 1 early for those of you who are just joining us, but decided to cheese aggressively. They went with the strat that Loda is, or sort of famous.
This was even more extreme than what Loda did.
Well, I would say they used a modified version of a strat that was sort of made famous by Alliance and Loda attempting to do with a Lifestealer Infest, and then they went to the umpteenth degree by adding the Rot to that equation, and it didn't work. Maybe we could argue that if they hadn't given up 3 kills before the buzzer, it might have gone a little bit differently. That said,
Pudge had been stacking polling and getting all the experience that he really needed to do. If that Pudge were Jenkins from Leviathan, that strategy might have worked, because that's the only guy that can really pull off. That's the only guy I've ever seen really pull off a support Pudge in a cheese strategy before.
Yeah,
like, that's the dude who does it. He's the #1 Pudge player in the world in terms of the elo gain from Pudge. Probably not #1 in the world in terms of effective skill, but in terms of how he utilizes it for his team relative to his peers, really, really strong. So if you're looking to learn how to play Pudge in any position, hit up Jenkins stream.
Now, it is worth noting, as we look at the draft, this is a real draft on both sides. Very interesting lineup so far. Aggression from McGill. University of Pittsburgh looks like they're going to try to counter that aggression with the Winter and the Disruptor. Wind Ranger will likely be played by Burr, and in that first game, Burr played a Wind Ranger extremely effectively. So look for that to happen again. And McGill's going to want to try to shut her down in the mid lane. It looks like their answer for that, is that going to be a Quap in the mid or a TA in the mid? I would assume it's the Templar Assassin.
It might be an aggressive tri-lane with a Quap solo safe lane and a TA mid.
I like that, actually. I think that's great with a Spirit Breaker Undying combo.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure that I love it, but that's what I'm thinking they're going to do. I'm still not sold. It depends on what the last pick is. Yeah, I laughed at the Wind Ranger Burr as well. We both love dad puns. What can we say?
It was clever. I'm going to have to use that. I laughed at it, and then I thought about giving credit, and I thought about not giving credit and just stealing it from Teasel in the game, but I decided we should go ahead and do that. So great, Wind Ranger, Wind Range Burr, as Teasel puts it in Twitch chat, because he plays it really, really well. So deserved title. Now we're probably looking, I would imagine, for Brodoc's hero here. He plays that off lane position. The first couple of games we saw him try some different things. The Darkseer was the last game. It didn't go as well as we had hoped it would. So they're trying to find something to say. What?
That's not his fault. That's the draft thing, right? That's not he individually screwed up. He just he built a Dagon. Right. That was kind of screwing up, but
with the TA pickup, they now it looks like University of Pitt has sort of smelled out the possibility of an aggressive tri-lane, and they're thinking about what to do with that. They grab a Chaos Knight in this presumed safe lane farm. What do you look for? What offlaner do you want when you think that there might be an aggressive tri-lane on the table?
Well, it depends on if you're going to try to meet the aggressive tri-lane with your defensive tri-lane, which they could try to do. Disruptor, not really the best hero at dealing with that. The Glimpse can get rid of one, or you can hold them all with a kinetic field if you get lucky. But he does not have a lot of deterring damage output, even with the scaling buff that Thunderstrike got. Still not a ton of defensive damage output. The Winter Wyvern, however, does deal pretty good damage into a tri-lane with the Splinter Blast.
Well, Splinter Blast plus obviously would spread around the Frostburn, right?
Right.
Or Arctic Burn.
So there's a fair amount of ways that the Winter Wyvern can react to that, although Wyvern is very squishy early as well. So that's dangerous in and of itself. I don't know that they necessarily have a support duo that I would feel super comfortable doing try-on-try with.
Yeah.
So maybe if this is an aggressive try from McGill, we don't know that it is. But if it turns out to be that way, maybe University of Pittsburgh rotates their tri-lane to the top and some off-laner bottom, and then you would just get any sort of traditional off-laner, your Darkseer, etc.
Sounds like a plan. So University of Pittsburgh and McGill waiting out those last ones. Darkseer banned out by McGill. Witch Doctor banned out by Pittsburgh. So if they were worried about a tri-lane, they definitely don't want to see that Witch Doctor anywhere near it. So he is going to be banned out. As we look for the last, presumably it could be support. I mean, Spirit Breaker could be played in a lot of roles, right?
It should.
I would assume it's a core. That said, though, with the fact that McGill has picked a lineup that wants to be early aggression, he fits into the core role very well.
Yeah. So if somebody's the core here, I would suspect it's the Undying and not the Spirit Breaker. But I don't know for sure how they decide to run this. I think Spirit Breaker Lion are the supports. But with the Lion, they could still go aggressive try.
See, I really like a Spirit Breaker Undying Lion aggressive tri lane with the Quap in that safe solo. There's a lot of stun, a great lockdown. They've got enough time to get a copious amount of Tombstone play in because of that Lion Spirit Breaker combo. It could work out very, very well for them if they choose to do that. And I don't know that Chaos Knight in a defensive tri-lane would have any answer for that. So Puck gets picked up, presumably for the off-lane here, as I believe that Burr really likes to play that mid position. It will be an off-lane Puck.
Yeah, it might even just, they might expect this to be an aggressive tri-lane, and they might just send the Puck bottom right away. I'm not sure Because I, as a caster, with all the information that exists, right, I'm still not sure how these lanes are going to shake out, so it's really shaky for Pitt.
So while we wait for them to lane out, let's just say welcome back to the last round. This is a 1v1. So this is the best of 3 third game of McGill versus University of Pittsburgh. Let's do some quick lineups for you. Brodog will be playing the off lane on the Fairy Dragon Puck. We're going to have G on the KS Knight, looking to add another G to the back end of that name. Burr going to be playing that Wind Ranger. We're going to have the Disruptor, played by Oven Rash. And last but not least, we're going to have, as a Wisp, I Can Touch Anything, playing the Winter Wyvern.
All right, here on the Radiant side for McGill, starting in the mid lane here, we are going to have Goodnight walking around on that Undying. He won't be taking the mid lane, I assume, but he is over on that side. We are also going to be looking at YCJ. That's their mid laner. Going invis on the Templar Assassin. Jaeger is running around on the Spirit Breaker. Dr. Small Plays is blinking over on the Queen of Pain. And Moon Panda is going to be taking that line. And this does have the makings of a defensive tri-lane, I think. I think that's the right call.
All right. So it goes forward to the top, where it looks like Pitt wants to try to get an early kill. A touch of vengeance. Brodog's going to go alone to the bottom lane, looking at him inching ever so close to see what it looks like. We're going to send YCJ in first, backed up by Goodnight. The rest of the team will follow behind, and Puck says, no way, I'm going to head to the off lane. See you later. And G will get the top, I'm sorry, Wind Range will pick up the top rune and take that to the mid. So a traditional tri-lane headed towards the top position, and it looks like it will be aggressive try. Big rotation.
Maybe they could just be rotating. I'm still super uncertain about this, because look where Moon Panda is. Now we do see OG run dual lanes, opening dual lanes with Undying sometimes. This is not an unheard of thing, and especially since Spirit Breaker can charge anywhere, he can start in the off lane and then rotate pretty soon. And this does feed into the idea that, remember, you want that Undying to be the core. The Spirit Breaker in theory could, but the Undying doesn't offer as much as the support that the Spirit Breaker does, and vice versa. So there's no reason to not.
Should be interesting. 2-1-2. So you don't see a lot of it, but it's not a bad strategy. It's just not in vogue. Jaeger comes in. We see Wisp goes up. Going to use that Arctic Burn to put some damage on Goodnight. Taking a lot of it as G's on the follow. He does have that Reality Rift. He'll use it. This should be the first blood. And they turn back around as Wisp Can Touch Everything has to run. Jaeger cannot finish the job, and he's got to back away. So an easy first. And the 2-1-2 shows where it can be weak.
Yeah, that's not a 2-1-2 problem, that's an over-aggression problem. If you had a tri-lane, if you had one dude, it doesn't matter. Somebody would have died there being that aggressive.
But I think that the 2-1-2 allowed him to feel like he could be a little more aggressive than he would have been in a traditional off-lane position.
They should have waited for the Tombstone, and they're very close. They're 25 experience away, so another creep dies, solo experience, Goodnight has Tombstone. Then maybe they can get support kills, but they're being hyper aggressive, and they just don't have the tools to capitalize on that aggression yet.
Burr and YCJ going head-to-head in the mid. Burr's proven very effective. The word on the street was that YCJ and G were the two to watch, and I think that they've both played very, very well, but honestly, I feel like there's a lot to be said about Burr's play in Game 1. And I'm actually throwing Game 2 completely out in terms of judging Pitt's play, because we saw that their draft was meant to be cheeky and just didn't work out. So I'm curious to see how individual skill comes in during this game.
He did get pretty handily outlaned in Game 1, if you'll recall. As Wind Ranger, he should have been up, and he ended up following behind. Up top,
he's going to charge. Big move on Rash. The 17 does proc, but it won't be enough damage. Rash will get away. Reality Rift is canceled. Almost, I didn't know you could cancel it that late.
No, it's fantastic at saving mana, but forcing your opponents to back up a bit. Just getting that, like, oh god, reaction.
Well, because the animation shows. I guess I never really... Yeah.
Have you never tried to cast Reality Rift and then had your opponents walk into Fog of War even though the animation started? Oh, it's super frustrating. It's my least, like...
I don't ever play
I don't
Chaos Knight.
play that hero because it frustrates me. But,
that makes sense.
But yeah, no, if you walk into Fog of War, the complete animation is canceled. And you can also just stutter step it if you want to, in order to get that. The same way that you can stutter step Magnus's ult, to force opponents back.
So every positive has a negative, and Goodnight's going to find that out as they move in on him. Gets the kinetic field, but it's going to miss Goodnight. Goodnight's getting very low. G not going to have the mana to finish the job. They turn back around and put some harass on Jaeger. Wisp has to back away. Good charge to buy some space. The stun procs, and that's a kill. So nice play by Jaeger, and good night to actually end up getting a turnaround on what I thought was going to be a great pickoff for G.
Yeah, Wisp really overstaying his welcome there. By Wisp, we of course mean the Winter Wyvern. His name is as Wisp, I can touch everything. Right, so, but the Wyvern named Wisp overstayed his welcome there. He was on the wrong side. He got potentially even body blocked out.
Right.
The whole thing was just kind of brutal.
So Wisp heads down to mid. Nice play there to get the bottle filled up for Burr. So some good team play. YCJ taking a little bit of damage. He's like, yeah, I may as well harass you and try to get off the refraction and get 8% burn before I leave. Bottom, they get chasing the shovel. Brodok in some serious trouble. He will go down, so Puck tries to get away, but Moon Panda's just got too much lockdown.
He had orb, but he didn't have the mana for orb, so kind of got stuck out there.
That's tough. Did he? I think he got stunned and then drained, right? So.
Well, he walked back here.
Oh no, he doesn't have the mana yet. Okay.
Yeah, no, he walked back there and hung out there, thinking that they hadn't seen him, and they followed him in. He could have gotten away with Tango eating through that situation if he knew that they had followed him in, but he didn't know that until it was too late.
And once you know that, it's just no coming back. So far, McGill off to a decent start. Pittsburgh not far behind. That Wind Ranger doing well in the mid, but going blow for blow with the TA. And I take that back, because TA's actually got 10 denies, so doing a good job of keeping that CS up, whereas the Wind Ranger's just been sort of focusing on getting those last hits and trying to stay slightly ahead. Rotation around.
Ooh, up top.
Yeah, Jaeger and Goodnight playing very aggressively. Come in. Oven Rash spots them out and pings them and says, I don't know what these guys are up to, but it does not look like much good can come of it. So they are going to get forced backwards. G will enjoy a little bit of free last hitting as he sees them out of position. And now we see Jaeger come in. Goodnight's going to go ahead and harass him again. He's got 1 decay up so far. Comes in, nice ping. They see it there. They saw him put it down, so they ping it immediately and say, look, the Dire has gotten vision because they're tired of us rotating around and trying to ruin their pulls.
Yeah, ironically, that ward is not going to help with the vision for rotating around, but it will help in knowing if a retreat is feigned or not.
Here goes for this charge. It's going to go under tower. Goodnight comes in. Immediately nice play by Wisp to get a little bit of help. Jaeger dropping very low, that 8%. A lot on him at this stage of the game. Goodnight taking some damage as well. Gets pulled back, but not into tower range, and they will both be able to escape, but the Tombstone now down.
Yeah, that's exactly the sort of situation I was saying.
Goodnight.
Bad stun, though. Big
Gets
damage.
Pulled back into tower range, but the creeps are inside, so it's only going to get 1 shot on him. Meanwhile, Jaeger goes for the dive. Big pull by G to save Oven Rash, and Jaeger's got to back away. They're harassing like crazy, but it's not really equaling anything.
Honestly, Oven Rash could have taken 2 hits, probably, with barring a lucky bash. Could have taken 2 hits there, and G probably just saved the Spear Breaker, if anybody, because he pulled him outside of that tower range. I don't know that I don't know for sure that Disruptor would have died there, but I'm pretty sure that the Spirit Breaker would have if he continued to dive. So, the whole thing was just messy.
Yeah, gold lead at 1100 for McGill. XP is at about 15 as they are getting off to a good start. And this is important to... we're going to go to the bottom where Brodok under some serious attack. They use the stun. They use the Hex. And Brodok is going to use that shift. Throws up the orb. 1 more right click will do it. And he jukes backwards. He's in the tree. He's going to shift again. Goes for the TP. We're going to get a blind spine. No, we don't. Moon Panda not able to... Doesn't want to throw it out blindly. And... Puck gets away.
No idea where Puck was.
So Puck just barely escapes. Nicely played there. Yeah, but I mean, I think you take a blind shot in that situation.
He should have thrown it out. It costs nothing if he gets a mana drain level, but you know, he doesn't have a mana drain level yet, and he wasn't sure that Puck was even there. So I can see the hesitation.
Fair enough. All right, to the mid. Now, there's something to keep in mind as we watch this battle between the 2 teams. Pitt took a win on the first one. It was not decisive. It went back and forth a few times, but Pitt felt so comfortable with their ability to beat McGill that they were willing to utilize a cheese strat and sort of what we've never seen be really successful in the second game, which says that they were confident that they could win this one on raw skill. And now we're seeing them have a tough start. Yeah, no, McGill's got the engagement. He does get that 17. Moves on Oven Rash. Oven Rash going to back away. Goodnight gets him very low. Jaeger comes in. Good ice block. And now Jaeger could be in some trouble as G has closed the distance. Jaeger with the charge. Moves on Oven Rash. Oven Rash dropping low. Pulls him backwards. He will give his life, but Jaeger may die in the process. G overexposed. He's got to go. Goodnight wants to close. Decay in 3 seconds. Can he get close enough? This should finish the job. He can. What a latch from Burr! Burr turns around, makes a nice play on good night, and now the wrap from everyone. That's a double from Pittsburgh. What a play.
Not good for McGill.
Whew,
that
baby.
was a deep dive, and it ended up swinging 800 gold in favor, largely on the Wyvern, but a decent chunk on the CK as well. Granted, you are now forcing the CK all the way back to Fountain, so he's missing 2, maybe 3 waves of creeps, which is worth more than the 200 then he actually got from that gold. But you are also missing all of those creeps because your entire team is dead.
Next level TP from Burr, though.
Oh yeah, and the latch, and it was
huge.
It was
if that latch had been anything like half a second later, it would have been a dead CK.
Yeah.
There's a big charge from Jaeger. They want to go for Brodok. He does not have level 6, though. Brodok's going to go ahead and use it, try to get the jaunt up, but he is caught in the Hex, and that's death. Puck having a really tough game. Meanwhile, up on top, Goodnight, they know that his friends are gone. They utilize that time. Goodnight's got to run. Can he get away? No! It's another kill, and it's a 1-for-1. They say, you take my Puck, we take your Undying. That said, though, Puck is going to have a really hard time. Picked this much, 9 minutes. All he has to his name is the Null Talisman at level 6, and you really need him to kind of get some levels and get a little bit of farm to get that Blink Dagger up.
I mean, he's doing better than the Undying. Because Undying's been splitting his lane, he's not even level 6 yet. Right? At least the Puck is almost level 7. And in addition, Undying's died 3 times and has fed Tombstones. So he's actually giving a lot more gold to his laning opponent than the Puck has. The Puck has been having trouble, and he is a hero who does better from ahead, and is a hero that needs a very expensive item, or typically uses a very expensive item in the Blink Dagger. But that being said, the Undying is not exactly doing much better.
Moon Panda, I will say McGill doing a great job of stacking this jungle, looking very sexy right now. So they've been, that's actually 3 stacked camps, and this one's actually a really big stack that they will then clean up together so that Dr. Small Plays can get himself some extra farm. Up on top, though, Goodnight throws the Tombstone down, wants to go on Oven Rash. Oven Rash on the run. Here comes G, puts up the stun, has a Mango if he wants to pursue. Goodnight, though, wants to go deep. Oven Rash will survive. The charge is coming from the distance. Can they lock this in? Kinetic field just in time, but not enough to save his life. What a charge from Jaeger. Hits. It transferred to CK, which was optimal. And now Whisk could be it. So no, what a play. And again, Burr comes in, gets a massive latch, and the chase is on. Jaeger's got to run. He's got Charge of Darkness up, so he will get away, as latch was not available, nor was the mana. But Burr again coming in to get the turnaround kill. Though CK far more valuable than the Undying at this point in the game.
Yeah, definitely worth pulling for McGill, especially because you did force the rotation. But you don't want to be diving too much at this stage if you can't be reliably securing kills and also getting your levels up. The Undying is just falling behind, to be honest. The Puck that's not having a great game, he's still a full level behind, but that's even more experience because levels scale they scale not linearly but close to linearly in terms of how much experience goes into each one.
YCJ doing a good job of cleaning up the farm here. And really close game so far, 6-5. Both teams taking this fight in. Nice attack. They want to move on at Undying again. This time, I do not see him escaping, and it is not going to happen.
He doesn't see him escaping either.
No, the charge targeted G, but that's just to get back to lane. So they'll fall back. Gold lead is about 3,000 for McGill. XP at about 2.
So
sorry,
let's talk about this interaction a bit, right? Because we haven't talked about this, but McGill's already somewhat struggling here. And normally their fallback player seems to be YCJ, right? In the mid lane, seems to be their standout player. He does a lot of playmaking.
Hold on, I'm going to interrupt you as they make a move. They do get the move on Wisp, but Puck was hiding in the trees. Makes his move from behind, whiffing a lot of damage to 17 procs. You're putting in a ton, but the stun is there from G as we see Wervin back away. Goes ahead and puts up the lockdown. This will be the end of Jaeger. And great plays. Pitt planned that from the get-go, just having Puck sit there and wait, bide his time. Meanwhile, though, YCJ in that mid position is going to take as the tower's down, is going to get herself a little bit more free farm. Mithril Hammer on purchase already and has a invisibility rune bottled up.
So what I was going to say is the TA does get pretty hard countered out by the CK in this matchup, though. And the reason is because Psyblades don't, they stop dead at illusions. They don't continue to do damage through illusions. So that's a really nuanced piece of information that makes that CK a really strong pick for the mid and late game up against the Templar Assassin, especially if you know that Templar Assassin is going to be the standout player for your opponent. Suddenly, YCJ does not have the ability to really maximize damage output throughout the mid-game.
That said, YCJ is very strong in terms of farm right now. Big charge on Oven Rash. They're going to go deep, throw the tombstone down. Oven Rash never stood a chance. And Goodnight cannot pursue as they are outside of the tombstone range. They are attacking G, though. Big stun. Moon Panda going to likely give his life here. Puck will finish the job. Jaeger comes in full steam. Gets one, but he'll give his life in the exchange. And it's a 2 for 2, but Goodnight caught in. Here comes Dr. Small plays with the big plays as he makes it a comfortable 3 for 2. And really a fight that went McGill's way because all they lost was their supports.
They also managed to grab some gold onto Undying and Spirit Breaker. At this stage in the game, both of them need a bit of gold. Spirit Breaker used that gold in order to finish out his treads, which also increases his damage. Undying now has a piece of his puzzle to start moving toward whatever he's going to grab.
Yeah.
I would assume that's something like maybe a medallion, but he might be going straight Ags. We don't know what this guy's up to. Queen of Pain also getting close to her Orchid.
Orchid, yeah.
And the Desolator is done on the TA, so pushing is going to start happening now.
All right, so in comes Bergen. Throw up a little bit of a shot, just some harass, but that power shot so strong at this level. We do see the stun disjointed. Nice play there by the Queen of Pain, and G's going to have to back off not having the stun available at the moment. Queen turns back around, as does Goodnight. They, like you said, they want to start thinking about push, and they're going to start to lean on the top tower. We get 4-man rotation towards the top. Free farm for Brodok on the bottom. Engagement is now. They go in, they catch small plays. He's caught, thrown into the ice, so G can continue to whack him down, and they do finish off the Queen of Pain. Goodnight's got nowhere to go. Now comes the charge from Jaeger, but just too late. Disruptor with a good play. Fake pullback.
That wasn't, it just got outside.
It got outsourced. That's what you're talking about, where they run into the fog. So Jaeger just barely escapes.
Yeah. So it's hard to land that move, especially against a hero as fast as Spirit Breaker at night. That's one of the downsides for the CK. He's really much stronger during the day than he is at night.
That said, great rotation by Pitt to know what was happening. They took up 3 heroes, put them behind the tower, and initiated very strongly. This team has a lot of good distance initiation, and they are showing that right now as they continue to pull in. They've got 4 on the tower, and there's not much that Moon Panda and the crew can do to stop them here. Wind Ranger is closing in on the Ags, 2,000 gold. She's about 800 away from having that up. Now here's the engagement. G gets hexed, turns back around. Jaeger comes in, big stun on G. G is isolated. He's got to try to back away. Oven Rash taking some serious damage. Jaeger gonna run. Moon Panda comes in. Here comes small plays. He makes a huge play from the back. Winter Wyvern trying to save himself, but he is surrounded on all sides, so he will go down to the magic damage, and that ends up being a triple as well as a tower save. So eat my words. Great plays by McGill to make sure that Pitt pays the price, and that's 2-2. Gold lead is at a 3,000 in favor of McGill and remains that way. XP is going to be on their side as well. So for every victory that Pitt takes, McGill just takes a little bit right back.
Yeah, big miscommunication here coming out of Pitt. The CK threw out the stun on the same hero that Disruptor sent back with Glimpse, and then the CK ended up pulling the wrong hero back in that fight, and they just did not seem to be coordinating cross-departmentally on that fight. Like, the supports were doing their thing.
Oh, YCJ goes! Meld strike, boom! No shack, no latch from Burr. Gonna burn through the refraction charges, but that latch, unfortunately, not going to go in. Jaeger now on the charge, catches Burr, but everyone else is there. They got to be careful. Here comes the puck ball. G comes in, gets up a 4-second stun. That was massive. That's going to get the Aegis out, but G has to back. Brodok running away. Goodnight comes in, throws the tombstone and the ultimate. G getting very low, puts up the multiples, plays inside, waiting for his chance to scream. That's the double. Aegis paying off in dividends. Brodok just barely escapes with his life.
There is a Midas on the CK, which I had not noticed until now. That choice is going to make this a very difficult game for them to win. Now the TA is balling, right? She's got the Desolator. That's all she really needs. A Blink Dagger would be nice. She almost has that as well.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to push into towers. They have the defensive Tombstone in order to hold position whenever they want. They do have the Sonic Wave. They have the charge to re-engage. And their Chaos Knight has no items. Right? He does handle the TA well once he gets farm, but if he's putting a bunch of his farm into an item that farms him more, it's going to take a long time before that CK is actually able to stand up and fight.
So McGill has hit 7,500 gold and 7,500 XP lead right now on a massive upswing from that fight. So really that Aegis factor, YCJ coming in getting the solo kill and then turning it back around to get a pick 3. While the scoreboard, when you look at 15 to 12, doesn't seem like a massive differential, the tower difference and the fact that a lot of that gold has been flowing to YCJ and the Queen of Pain has put them significantly ahead. Burr having a great game on the Wind Ranger, but is it going to be enough? She has finished up her Ag Scepter, so we're looking for a Blink Dagger next, I presume, with the way that this game has been going. I don't know if it's going to be enough because right now, McGill is just so gosh darn strong, and their team is designed to really manifest and control 15 to 32 minutes, and I think that at this pace, that could be enough.
It's more if your opponent's carry got a Midas from a lane that was heavily contested. If this were a pro game, we'd be looking at about a 94% win rate for McGill just on economics alone here, not to mention the fact that they already demonstrated that their mid game and their communication is a little bit stronger than Pitt's.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of things running in their favor. Now what Pitt has running in their favor is if they go late, fairly strong. Winter Wyvern's ultimate does go through magic immunity. It is a very strong late game ultimate. CK goes late harder than anybody on McGill and directly counters one of those heroes. Right, the Wind Ranger also goes late and high ground sieges very effectively. What they don't have is a ton of high ground defense. They've kind of got the Disruptor, a bit with the Wyvern. That's pretty much it. So in terms of defending any sort of aggressive assault, they're really going to have to rely on their coordination and the ability to get farm on the CK.
Now, they brought everybody. Pittsburgh brought the whole crew up top to try and take a shot at YCJ. YCJ is going to TP away safely while the rest of the team farms up mid and bottom. So very comfortable play by them. Now a rotation by Pitt looking to keep the engagement or get some sort of advantage to get themselves sort of back in this thing as they head towards the mid. Goodnight's being pinged by his friend. They're saying watch out. In comes Burr, burns the ultimate, and Goodnight will just drop like a rock. So good kill, and it goes to Burr, who really is enjoying this big gold flush, and now they're pinging out saying, I kind of want to do this. It looks like they may engage. They do. They go for the turnaround. Big charge by Jaeger to start this thing out. In comes YCJ. Meld Strike melts down the Disruptor, but Burr gets the turnaround on a huge latch that ends up nullifying not only the Spirit Breaker, but finishing off the Lion with a power shot, a blind power shot, I might add.
Yeah, no, this was a fantastic set of plays.
I want to rephrase it. It was not a blind power shot. I did not realize they put a ward there.
This was a fantastic set of plays either way. Those three heroes give an enormous amount of control back to Pitt, right? They now, the CK has had the space in order to get his armlet, so he's able to at least survive ganks, possibly engage into fights, if those fights are well chosen. The Wind Ranger is getting very close to a next item. In fact, she's working toward what looks like a BKB. So she now has a bit more survivability to handle the Queen of Pain ultimate. Once again, huge, especially with the potential for the decay. That little bit of gold got a couple of heroes a whole chunk of items closer to where they need to be. And that's central. So
we're going to have Goodnight gone on. Once he dies, we'll take a second to check on the items that are out right now. Goodnight out of position. We're going to see the Gravestone come down. Nobody's really going to come in. Actually, they are going to come in to make the rescue. Goodnight saved at the last second. We do see the finger come out, finishes off the CK. Big charge, catches Disruptor and Puck. And the bait is great, mate, as they get a 4-man pickoff, and Burr has to run for the hills. So what we thought was going to be a dead undying ends up being a huge response, because we forget about just how ridiculously mobile McGill is. There's a Blink Dagger up on YCJ. There is absolute mobility from the paint of the Quap and the Spirit Breaker, and this is exactly what McGill wanted, right? The idea of let's put that tanky hero out, get the Tombstone down, they'll all converge, and then we can just follow up, and they do that exquisitely well. Burr going to come in and try to harass back small plays, but with 7 seconds left on the CK respawn, this should be a tower without any issues whatsoever.
There is a glyph, they will use it. There's not a Wyvern ult here, so they might even be able to re-engage, but there's no reason to overextend.
Better safe than sorry, right?
Right. There's just no reason to when they have 2 tier 2s to knock down first. And they still need to choke out this area with wards as well. They don't really have a ton of vision up there. They've got the 1 ward. So they haven't done their homework in terms of making sure that they are just choke holding. No reason to over-engage when they still have ground that they can cover.
All right, gold lead is back up almost to 10,000 now in the favor of McGill. XP has cleared the 10,000 mark. We'll do a quick item check as Pitt rotates down towards the bottom lane. The Deathslayer, the Blink Dagger, and the Chrysalis up on the TA. We got that Orchid finished on the Queen of Pain, and the Yule Scepter up on her as well. Here comes a charge from Jaeger. He wants to make a move. He's going to go in and catch himself some Wisp. Meanwhile, Oven Rash going to get caught out of position and just completely obliterated by the Meld Strike. Wisp goes to the high ground and goes for the TP as soon as he gets up there. The stun just barely misses, so he will walk away. No Roche as of yet, so it's gonna be a while too. It looks like it's gonna be a full. Is that a time full or is that just blinking?
No, it doesn't tell you until
That's
it
right.
hits the point.
Yeah, we'll wait here for another second or two.
It's a 6-minute point, and then it will tell you how long. So it's going to be 2 minutes 15
There it is,
seconds.
2 minutes. I don't like the fact that it blinks. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, how dare it shine?
How dare it shine?
I
1,000
don't know
gold,
what that means,
12,000 XP. Meanwhile, let's look into the jungle where G is getting charged by a very aggressive McGill team. But why not when you're this far ahead? Jagger going to come in, gets G, going to knock him backwards out of the trees, presumably. No, I'm sorry, his ultimate is on cooldown. TP's coming out aplenty, but that's exactly what YCJ wants. Meld Strike to finish. TP's still come in, but the fight is real. We're going to see the Greaves that were just finished up by Goodnight proc, and they want to make the chase. G gonna get charged. Jaeger gonna get him right before the tower. He gets stunned. Beautiful Dream Coil, which leaves Goodnight exposed. He will go down, but they cannot. Oh, Brodoc's making some plays here, man. Jumps in, does some serious damage. McGill has to back away. They're outside of Tombstone range. They've taken a ton of hits, and they will just back. So really nice play. I think that was almost exclusively a save on the back of Brodoc's initiation on the puck.
There was a really nice Winter's Curse in there as well.
True.
So it was a team play, but Brodock was certainly the flashiest of those plays. I will give you that. The easiest to latch onto. Some of the other stuff was a bit more subtle. There's some nice armlet toggling going on by the Chaos Knight as well to keep himself alive. They still have some control, but look at this. McGill knows exactly what they're doing here, right? I had just said they need to get some chokehold vision.
Oh, the latch works out. Burr gets him at max range, puts in some serious damage. YCJ comes in, Meld strikes, but Wisp gets up a really nice cold embrace before it can come to full fruition. Burr wants to chase. It looks like he is not going to build that Blink Dagger. He looks like he might be going for a BKB instead. Here comes Moon Panda, drains some of that mana, but not enough. The ultimate will still proc. YCJ comes in. He's got to run away now as the turnaround is there. Lots of damage on him. He's pulled back into tower range. Goes into Meld, but they've got vision, and that's going to be a triple pick. And now Dr. Small plays caught inside of the silence, trying to get out of range, but the Yule Scepter is there. Can they finish the job? They will not. He blinks to safety just in time, but now Goodnight comes in, says, I want to play, but I want to play a little bit after everyone has already left. And that'll be a 4-man kill, presumably, for them as the chase is on. They pull him backwards. A little bit of a miscommunication, but it's not going to matter. Down it goes, and they get a quad for nada. Pittsburgh, exactly what they needed and done on the back of a really nice latch by Burr.
Yeah, this is a couple of these fights that they've taken,
Wow,
the
look at
sorts
that
of things
swing.
that can keep them in the game. They're going out ahead of their towers, taking fights on more neutral ground so that they don't have to worry about immediately losing a tower if they do lose the fight. They're trying to get the engagement on their own terms. They're trying to get the tombstone out early so that they can knock it out of the way. They're doing a lot of things right here, Pitt is. Now, granted, not every fight is going that way, but they have a lot of good ideas, and they are executing on about half of them.
So that fight swung the gold chart by almost 5,000 gold.
Yeah.
Is what they gave up there, which is absolutely huge. The XP was given up pretty significantly. The BKB was now finished on Burr because of that fight. Glimmer Cape is now up on the Winter Wyvern. Let's see, what else do we have that has come out? CK is going to add a Sange to that armlet that he's got, as well as continue to aggressively farm. And is McGill on a timer here?
No, I don't necessarily think they're on a timer. I think it gets harder the longer it goes, but they could win at any stage in theory.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, at a certain point, it just comes down to how well does that TA execute and how many heroes does the Queen of Pain get in her, right? Because Puck's not super late game oriented. He's got the Dream Coil, but that's really more of a area denial than anything else. It's not that effective. Disruptor, similarly, not super late game unless you're playing against casters. Winter Wyvern has a very good late game ult, but for the rest of his entire hero kit, it doesn't really matter that much. So the CK is really, the CK and the Wind Ranger are the late game anchors for Pitt. And for McGill, they have 3 heroes that kind of go late. With the TA goes late very well. The Undying can go late-ish, but not nearly as hard. And the Queen of Pain goes late-ish, but not nearly as hard as something like a CK.
So TA doing a very aggressive build. Looks like she went for the Daedalus instead of picking up a BKB or something here. Meanwhile, we see a Smoke in a 5-man rotation. Looks like Brodok is not Smoke, so he's serving as the bait here as the rest of the team follows right behind him, looking for an initiation. Burr going to go out in front now as they rotate into the jungle. They know that they're watching. It is working. They're thinking about going. Here they come. YCJ is the one left behind. Good positioning from G to try to extend that Smoke timing. Out comes the latch. It's a huge latch and a pullback. Moon Panda going to get eradicated. Now the initiation. Moon Panda doesn't survive as Brodok, or as the Queen of Pain comes in and finishes the job. Or Brodok did, I'm sorry. Got caught behind that. Jaeger going to go invisible. Moves in on Oven Rush. Good Glimmer Cape. Now they move on Burr. Burr putting up some damage. The BKB is there, but they've already lost 4. It's going to be, no, it's not going to be 5. A BKB, but forced to use that 10-second charge defensively for a TP out and gives up the Aegis. I thought when Brodok came in and got the explosion it was going to work out, but it did not. YCJ had the refraction charges up, and they just turned back around and annihilated them.
Can you explain to me why they baited the puck but then ran into the jungle anyway? They right, if you're going to bait the puck so expertly, and that was a wonderful worm on a hook, and it was clearly working. From our perspective, we could see McGill starting to drift that direction. Why didn't they wait for them to come closer into the puck and then engage in secret? What was the?
I think that they had a fear. I think they had a fear that YCJ and the others had moved into the Roche pit aggressively. And didn't want to lose the Aegis while baiting the puck. Because once they saw puck in lane, maybe that gives a signal. YCJ's wailing right now at over 200 damage with the Chrysalis and the Desolator. That's a fast Roche. Speaking of a fast fight, they move in immediately. They go to the high ground. Pitt taking a ton of damage. They're going to come in, gets a good ultimate. Finger to follow. Burr dropping very low. Can they finish the job? Burr's going to drop back, but G is not. G will go down, and this could be the end of the game as Wisp is also going to die on a nice play. It's a triple kill to Jaeger. It'll be a tower and presumably a Rax or more, as there is no buyback on the 3 dead heroes.
Probably a GG, to be honest. I mean, the Rax is definitely going down. At least one. Maybe Pitt try to stay and fight through this, but they're doing this smart too. They get the melee Rax and then they rotate right away. They're not going to stick around for that stupid range barracks. They're going to get 2 lanes of important melee mega creeps. Make it very difficult. But remember, the CK is really great as a late game hero killer, but he's not very good against megas. He just doesn't have the AoE potential for it.
And they do get the double, so they'll back away. We do see the respawn start to come out, but that's 2 sets of racks and a team wipe. The gold lead was at 6,000 a few minutes ago, and it goes all the way up to 14. And the GG comes out after Pittsburgh has a bit of a discussion. So Pitt had a great first game. Game 2 rolls up, and they tried something cheesy, feeling that they could win. Game 1, it does not work out, boys and girls, and McGill University secures a tie for University of Pittsburgh in the 2nd position in this group. So phenomenal play by both teams, a lot of action, and honestly, people said YCJ is the man to watch, and his TA really did a wonderful job in this match. A shout out to Burr for putting up some good numbers, but it was not enough to secure the win. My name's Toffees. You can find me at Toffees TV over on Twitter. Gorgon, these is my co-caster. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me over at The Wonder Cow, where I have a link up to a preview for tomorrow's matches over on Dota Blast that I would recommend that anybody who's going to watch the Frankfurt Major at all should swing over and take a read.
Enjoy the
That's my plug for the night.
Nice. Enjoy the Frankfurt Majors. Check it out on Dota Blast, guys. While you're at Twitter, follow C Star League, and make sure you come back and join us every Tuesday and Thursday night at 9 p.m. until the fall break, where we're going to bring you the best in collegiate Dota. And that's not all. This channel has CSGO, League of Legends, and Hearthstone, as well as StarCraft. So lots of collegiate gaming in general. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in scholarships given out. So if you're not involved, go to the website cstarleague.com and check out how to get your team signed up to prove that you deserve a share of the scholarship money as we turn collegiate sports into esports into a thing. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad to be part of it. We hope that you join us next Tuesday as we'll be back with more college Dota. We'll hang out in Twitch chat just for a few minutes if you have questions for us and play some music. That said, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us, and as always, Toffees out.